Welcome everyone. The Bhagavad Gita. Now you see, the stage is set for the conversation. I want you all to just close your eyes and imagine the scenario, where the battle is about to begin. Imagination is the key. I don't want you to, strain your eyes looking for stuff. Just close your eyes and listen. So here the stage is set for the conversation, and a nippy dawn was breaking, on the battlefield. Of course, it was getting to the end of November and the winter that was already in, but the air promised to be a harsh one, that winter. So the sky, recently a dull drab grey, the previous night, was trying valiantly to infuse some cheer into the morning. It was completely awash in peachy pink, edged with gold along the eastern horizon, blending in the west into the fading night. It was ridiculously a pretty sight, designed to melt the most hardened heart, if only its possessor had taken the trouble to cast a glance heavenwards. That means it was such a beautiful sight. Well, we're describing a battlefield here. So, as it turned out, no one, yes, not one of the thousands of men gathering on the field, young men and old, brave and, all the lily-livered ones, the leaders and the followers bothered with the sky that morning. Obviously, they were too busy, as men will be, doing important things, things that were a matter of life and death, things that were born of hate and greed and fear, and things guaranteed to cause pain and grief and destruction. They were going to fight a war. So here is a description of the field. On one side of the field stood the 11 Akshauhinis, giant battalions comprising chariots, elephants, horsemen, and foot soldiers of the Kaurav army in precise gleaming battle formation. Right in the middle, in his golden chariot, stood the supreme commander of the Kaurav forces, Bhishma, the invincible, the oldest man on the field, and the revered and beloved granduncle of both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And of course, on the other side of the field were the 7 Akshauhinis of the Pandav army. Yes, just 7 versus the 11 on the other side. Their smaller number should have left the warriors on this side shaking in their shoes. Incredibly, they did not seem to be intimidated in the least, their faces uniformly shining with confidence and hope and good cheer. Not one of them would have bet a single deerskin that he himself would survive the war, but each was quite sure his side would have the eventual victory. For were they not fighting on the side of the good, just, and virtuous Pandavas? So you see, if the other side had Bhishma, the invincible, who had the enviable power to choose the time of his own death, did their side not have the supreme battle strategist, Krishna? And what about their own commander of the forces, Prince Dreshtadyumna, brother of Queen Draupadi, the one who, according to the prophecy, was destined to bring down the almighty warrior Drona? And Drona, of course, you all know, was the guru, or you could say the teacher to both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. In fact, it was the warriors on the other side who were beginning to look a little jittery as they rubbed their hands and stamped their feet to get the chill out of, the cold weather and the blood raging in their veins. They knew that many of the armies that were fighting on their side had been forced to do so because, They either owed King Dhritarashtra something or were bound to fight on the side of Hastinapur for other reasons, and not because they believed that the Kauravas were in the right. So that's the important point. I mean, that means they all were fighting just to be there, but literally they did not agree to this, that they were doing the right thing. Most of them, in fact, believed that the Kauravas had done terrible wrongs. They could not, would not win, especially on a battlefield as sacred as Kurukshetra, known to always favor the good. Such soldiers were not the best people to have on your side in a war, for you never know, or you could say never knew, when they would lose their spirit. So they also knew that even the greatest warriors on their side, elders like Bhishma and Drona, who would never do anything cowardly or disloyal, were on the side of the Pandavas in spirit. That means they know that the Pandavas were right. Bhishma, for instance, had agreed to be commander only on the condition that he would not be expected to kill any of the Pandav brothers. And everyone knew that, Guru Drona's most favorite student was none other than the hero of the other side, Arjuna. So, it was silly to expect that the revered martial arts teacher to the Kurus and the Pandavas, and one of the few people who could bring down Arjun, would ever actually do so. Oh yes, all things considered, things were looking pretty bleak for the Kauravas, despite their 11 Akshahuinis. Even far away, the two people, in the throne room, King Dhritarashtra was also feeling it. His head told him that his 100 mighty sons, backed by great war heroes, powerful regional kings, and Krishna's own powerful Yadav army, the Narayani Sena, could not but win. But his heart knew that the Pandavas, all legendary warriors themselves, had not only truth and justice, but Krishna himself on their side, and it whispered that the Kauravas could not but lose. In fact, King Dhritarashtra, he turned to his charioteer, the clairvoyant Sanjay, who could actually see this, the entire, blessed with divine vision and hearing, to enable him to see and hear. So he asked him, and he said, "Tell me, Sanjay," he said, "what is going on in that holy field of Kurukshetra, where my sons and the sons of my brother Pandu have gathered to fight?" Sanjay focused his senses on the battlefield. He saw Duryodhana's brow furrow in worry as he took in, for the first time, the splendor and size of the Pandava army. He saw the Kaurav's jaw clench as he made a decision, and saw him walk purposefully towards his Guru Drona. And Sanjay began to describe the scene as it unfolded to his impatient master. Duryodhan was not often nervous, but today it was different. Those blasted cousins of his had managed to put together quite a mighty army after all. He would have to talk to his commander, some of whom he knew despised him and loved the Pandavas. He would have to provoke them, remind them of things that they would rather forget, make them abandon their good judgment and plunge into the war with blind fury, determined to bring down the opposition no matter who they were. Also, although he would never admit it even to himself, Duryodhan wanted to be reassured that his side still had as good a chance of winning as he had earlier believed. So he went to his Guru and he told him, "Guruji, do you see the great army on the other side? Put together by your students, the Pandav brothers? Do you see how expertly their battalions have been arranged by another of your students, the sharp, intelligent Drashtadumya?" So, of course, when he said these words, Drona's hand tightened on his bow. There, his words had the desired effect. What kind of disciples indeed, what kind of men were the Pandavas if they were willing to raise arms against their own teacher? Duryodhan chuckled inwardly. The mention of Drashtadumya was a masterstroke also. You know why? Because this Drishtadyumna was the son of Drona's sworn enemy, and it had been prophesied that he would kill Drona someday. Nothing like a reminder of your own death to get the old adrenal pumping. So it's like how you can provoke someone to that extent. So do you see, Duryodhan went on, the many heroic warriors on that side, even apart from Bhima and Arjun. There's Drishtaketu, Sabya, Kunti Bhoja, Yadumanyu, Uttamuja and Abhimanyu. He trailed off. So, of course he went on smoothly. It isn't as if our side doesn't have great leaders. There's you, then there is Karna, Kripa, Vikarna, and your own son Ashwathama. There are several other heroes also, all loyal to me, fully prepared to give up their lives. And best of all, we are protected by Pitamaha, grandfather Bhishma. If all our commanders make sure that he is kept safe, we should be all right. Now, after saying all this, Duryodhan paused. He waited, for his guru's reaction. He had spoken confidently, but he wasn't sure that his side was going to be fine at all. We should be fine, right, Acharya? Right? He transmitted wordlessly. If Drona caught the mute plea in his student's eyes, he did not show it, nor did he respond. But someone else did, someone whose old eyes had seen generations of men come and go, and whose large compassionate heart held in it equal parts of love for all his grandsons. Standing tall on his chariot, the supreme commander of the Kurus filled his lungs, roared like a lion, and blew loud and long into his conch, silencing the doubters, shattering every last hope of peace and conciliation, proclaiming to earth and heaven that the Kauravas were ready to fight to the death. Joy, excitement, and renewed hope raced through Duryodhana and down the ranks of the Kaurava army like a coal fire. A great clamor broke out, and the sound of bugles, trumpets, and drums rent the air. Victory would be theirs, of course it would. But wait, what was that? From the far side of the field, from another golden chariot drawn by 4 white horses and proudly flying the flag of Hanuman, came the sound of not one but 2 conches, blown lustily and in unison. Every man on the field froze. These were no ordinary conches. The conch blowers were no ordinary men either. So you see, the war is about to begin. Keep listening and do subscribe and share. Thank you.